Rumors spread that step-uncle Stephen is going to marry his 21-year-old step-niece Macy. Secretly, Stephen is married to Rhonda. Macy is actually spreading the rumor because she is pregnant with another married man's baby. Hello, I'm Truly, and welcome to my channel. For more stories, be sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. The sun rose lazily over the horizon of Meadowbrook, a quiet town where secrets whispered and lives intertwined in complicated knots. As the warm rays tickled the dew-kissed grass, they illuminated the house on Maple Street, where two families had merged and where turmoil bubbled beneath the surface. Macy Parker, a sprightly 21-year-old with a mane of dark curls and vibrant green eyes, sat on her bed, her heart racing with a mix of anxiety and anticipation. This morning, the whispers had begun. Rumors danced through the town, swirling like autumn leaves carried by a gust of wind. Rumors that her step-uncle Stephen was to marry her. It was as far from the truth as one could get, but Macy had a plan, and this was the first step. Stephen had been her step-uncle for nearly a decade, having married Macy's mother Rhonda several years before. He was a broad-shouldered man with an easy smile and laughter that rolled like thunder. Unbeknownst to everyone in Meadowbrook, Stephen and Rhonda's marriage was fraught with strains. Secrecy had woven itself into the fabric of their union, casting a shadow over family gatherings and dimming the warmth of their shared home. Macy's plan, however, had less to do with her uncle's marital status and everything to do with the rapidly growing life within her. She was pregnant, and the father was a married man, disillusioned and distant, whose late-night texts had turned into silence and dread. The man, Greg Thompson, was a local mechanic with a charming smile and a wife who adored him. While their affair had begun as a swirl of excitement and forbidden romance, it was now a web of despair and fear. This was her last resort. If she spread the rumor of an engagement, perhaps she could drive the scrutiny away from her own situation. As she dressed for the day, her mind raced. Each beat of her heart echoed the consequences of her decisions, both tragic and liberating. This was uncharted territory, but Macy felt a perverse thrill at the thought of taking control of her life, even if it invited chaos. She knew what she had to do. Did you hear? Macy's step-uncle is proposing. Julie, her friend from down the street, chirped as they strolled through the park. The emerald grass was dotted with parents and children, laughter mingling with the sound of rustling leaves. Yeah, I heard, Macy replied, a grin plastered on her face. She glanced at Julie, who was blissfully ignorant of the deeper currents at play. It's crazy, right? Well, it's kind of romantic. I mean, to fall in love with a family member. Family member? Macy interrupted with a laugh. He's not really my uncle by blood. We're just step-family. Still, people will talk, Julie warned, her expression turning serious. This could affect your mom and everything. Macy nodded, biting back the guilt rising in her throat. She hadn't considered her mother's feelings. Rhonda was a loving mother, and the thought of hearing these ridiculous rumors ringing in her ears caused a pang in Macy's heart. But she quickly dismissed it. It was too late now. As Macy and Julie continued their walk, the rumors pulsed through the town, picking up speed. Gossip acted as a living organism, coiling around itself, feeding off excitement and intrigue. Weekends brought whispers at the diner, heated conversations in grocery store aisles, and raised eyebrows at church gatherings. Did you see the way Stephen looks at her? Mrs. Henderson, the town's unofficial gossip, remarked in a hushed voice. The lines of her face gathered in consternation. Something fishy is going on there, Mr. Benson replied, shaking his head. They were absolute anchor points for speculation. By the time the sun set 3 days later, the atmosphere of the town was electrified with the anticipation of an engagement announcement. If only they knew the truth. Inside the Parker household, under the hushed surface of the family facade, Rhonda sensed the change. Little had she known that her daughter had ignited a wildfire of rumors, one that could bring her world crashing down around her. Still, the truth was more insidious than any gossip. Since her wedding to Stephen, the two had shared a space but remained worlds apart. Rhonda often noticed the way Stephen's gaze lingered on Macy, filled with something she couldn't quite put a name to. Was it admiration, affection, or an idea that had taken root in the chaos of the family? Late nights spent staring at the ceiling often led to her worst fears unfolding. Macy, can I talk to you for a second? Rhonda asked as they found themselves together in the kitchen one afternoon. Macy was fully aware of her mother's suspicion, her instincts urging her to tread carefully. "Sure, Mom, what's up?" Rhonda's voice trembled slightly, a rare crack in her normally confident demeanor. "I've been hearing some things and I just want to know if you're okay." The warmth of her mother's voice stirred something in Macy, but she steeled herself. "Mom, it's just talk. You know how it is in this town. People find entertainment in chatter." Rhonda shook her head vehemently. "This isn't just chatter, Macy. People are worried. Your uncle loves you like his own," she said, her gaze dropping to the countertop, wrestling with whatever doubts plagued her. "Just tell me it's not true." Macy opened her mouth, ready to lie, but the thought of it crushed her. Instead of lying, she opted for a clever diversion. "Mom, I'm just trying to live my life. Everyone makes too much of this stuff. Let them talk." Before Rhonda could respond, Sears, the family brown mutt, bounded into the room, his tail wagging, completely oblivious to the brewing storm between mother and daughter. Macy bent down, ruffling the dog's fur, her heart drumming nervously. As days led into weeks, Stephen sensed an unmistakable shift around him. Unbeknownst to him, his world was toppled by the whispers of his step-niece's audacities. He caught fragments of conversations carried on the breeze. "Are you really going to marry her? And what will Rhonda think?" Stephen was oblivious to the chaos brewing over his head. His marriage to Rhonda, once vibrant with love, had turned into a dance of silence. They hardly spoke, but Stephen had convinced himself that love had a different shape. He was bound to Rhonda through a lifetime of memories, yet the thought of love entwined with duty felt like a cage. And now, while he heard the whispers, he refused to acknowledge them as anything more than the town's penchant for drama. One evening he found himself alone in his study, the smell of aged leather books and dust grounding him amidst the turbulence of thoughts swirling in his mind. He remembered the first time he had set eyes on Macy as a small child, her laughter filling the air like music, a memory that was too innocent to blend with current circumstances. He poured himself a glass of whiskey, letting the amber liquid warm his throat. Thoughts of his wife flickered through his mind. Rhonda had been his anchor once, but through the years, they had all drifted. Connections frayed, and real conversations turned absent. Desiring to confront his thoughts, he grabbed his phone, summoned up the courage, and sent a message to Rhonda. "Can we talk?" He awaited her reply, his heart pounding, an echo of the first day they met, that relentless flutter that had once made him believe in love. "Sure, I'll be home by 6, came her response, sparse yet tinged with a hint of anticipation. The hour crawled by until Rhonda arrived home, her presence like a shadow that walked into light. The smell of sunflower oil filled the kitchen. Macy had prepared a small dinner while Stephen paced in the living room, wrestling with his thoughts. "Did you hear about the engagement rumor?" Rhonda broke the silence as she entered. "I have, yes," Stephen replied, running a hand through his hair. "It's absurd." "You're telling me," she responded, her voice dropping to a whisper. "The whole town is talking. And for some reason, I can't shake off this dreadful feeling." "Rhonda, you've got to understand, Macy, she's going through something," he replied, trying to piece together the fragments of conversations lodged in his mind. "She needs our support, Stephen. You need to talk to her," Rhonda urged, her steady gaze piercing through his defenses. At that moment, a sharp knock echoed through the house, causing them both to jump. It was Julie, eyes wide with excitement. "Guess what I heard? Macy's making a big announcement," she blurted out, her breath heavy with the thrill of gossip. Rhonda and Stephen exchanged glances, fear curling in their chests. They experienced the urgency of the moment, the crumbling facade of their lives tumbling around them like leaves before a storm. "Let's go see what she has to say," Stephen proposed, his brows furrowed. The living room buzzed with palpable tension as Macy awaited the arrival of her step-uncle and mother. Stephen stepped through the threshold first, sharp-eyed, followed closely by Rhonda, whose forehead glistened with anxiety. "Macy, we need to talk," Stephen said, the weight of his voice anchoring the moment. "About what?" she asked, feigning innocence, her heart pounding inside her chest. "Macy, the rumors, what's going on?" Rhonda interjected, reaching for her daughter's hand, squeezing gently. Macy's resolve felt thicker than fog creeping over the river. She had to hold her ground. "Mom, it's nothing. People love to speculate. I didn't start it, I merely let it grow." "If you didn't spread it yourself, then why?" Stephen asked, now stepping forward, his eyes searching hers. He felt as if he could sense the truth dancing beneath her words. And that was it. In a moment of vulnerability, the weight of the rumors came crashing down in a raw confession. "I'm pregnant," Macy whispered, her voice barely above a breath. Time hung still as they processed the words threading through the air. "What?" Rhonda gasped, her brows knitting together, heart racing. Macy nodded slowly but swiftly, feeling the warmth creep to her cheeks. "With Greg's baby," she confessed. The truth spilling over like water from a jar turned too quickly. "I didn't know how to tell you, or anyone. So I thought..." "Thought what?" Stephen's voice sharpened. "That creating a rumor would distract us from the reality? It was the only way to cope." Macy cried out, fear twisting in her gut. "I'm scared. Greg. He's not ready to leave his family." As the weight of her words settled, Macy felt heavy tears blur her vision. Rhonda's silence felt like a thunderclap crashing around them, and Stephen felt a mixture of sorrow and protectiveness wash over him. "Why didn't you come to us?" Rhonda asked, her voice barely a whisper. "I was ashamed," she finally admitted, her cheeks burning with the weight of her own decisions. "I thought spreading the rumor would take the heat off me and make it easier to figure out my next step." Betrayal washed over Stephen like a wave. He never imagined this would unfold between their family. "Macy, you don't need to hide from us. You should have known you could trust us." Rhonda's anger was faltering, replaced with understanding layered within her own pains. "Oh, my sweet girl," she breathed, pulling Macy into her embrace. "You're still my daughter. We can figure this out." Their worlds had shifted completely, the web of secrets woven tighter than ever. The truth twisted each of them, blurring the lines of love and family. Stephen remained silent amidst the whirlwind, grappling with conflicting emotions. Their family had been woven together by intricate threads: love, betrayal, fear, and shame. They had arrived at an intersection where choices would shape their lives forever. As they huddled together, a haphazard family pieced through trials, Macy realized that she needed to face whatever lay ahead. Love could bind them together, but so could honesty. In that moment, surrounded by her family, she felt a flicker of hope ignite within her, challenging the darkness that had threatened to consume them all. In Meadowbrook, the rumors would spread and evolve, but for the Parkers, it was time to confront their truths and reweave their bonds. For deeper secrets lay ahead, and only together would they face whatever storm awaited.